So, I want to talk today about good girl syndrome or good person syndrome. And what this is something that has infected. I may do this video today with some humor. It has infected pretty much every person on this planet. Um, there may be somebody who may be in the opposite bad person syndrome, but even underneath it there is a good person syndrome. Okay. um all right, so what the good girl good person syndrome is we claim to be good. It's a claim that we make that we are good. And we are not bad, we are good. Okay? See if you can take a moment to reflect. How do you identify as good? I am here to tell you, me, we're actually bad. We're actually bad. I'm going to get into this. All right, so whether you are somebody who is on a spiritual journey or not, we as humans really want to claim to be good. And oftentimes, what happens when we claim to be good is that the parts of us that are bad, they are not going anywhere. They haven't disappeared. They haven't gone to an alternate universe. To be honest, the only alternate universe that has gone to is that we are not conscious of how bad we are. So let's get into this a little bit more. Okay? So when we were kids, if we were allowed, we had our feelings. Even if we weren't allowed, we had our feelings. We had our feelings of jealousy. We had our feelings of hate. We had sibling rivalry. We felt anger. We felt like we really wanted to get our revenge from others. And before we learned how to filter it, before we learned that actually having all of those feelings and acting them out is not good, we allowed them. Okay, then we had them. And as children, when we were even stuck in them sometimes, because maybe I felt really jealous as a child. And if I got stuck in those feelings of jealousy, I would either verbalize it or I would throw a tantrum, and I would throw my whole body into some kind of, children have a tendency to like really throw their bodies onto the ground, cry, and really like move their bodies it's actually a very healthy maneuver of children. They know the wisdom is to transform their feelings from their bodies so they can feel like themselves again, they can feel light again, they can feel happy again, and they can play. Children don't have a tendency to get caught in their feelings. They have them, and they have an innate wisdom that tells them it's okay to have these feelings, really, and how to transform them. Now, we get taught And this is an important part of a healthy ego. Really, we need a healthy ego, a healthy inner structure inside as adults, that when we don't get our way, when we feel jealous or angry, not to throw our bodies to the ground and have a tantrum, or if you break my cup, I'm going to break your cup. It, as adults, as we grow, even as children, as we grow, we learn that that isn't going to serve us, really. That isn't the way to go. It is, we need to find a different way to work with those feelings, to be with those feelings. Now, a lot of times, though, what happens is that instead of having a good moral structure inside that keeps us from acting out those feelings, we actually internalize it so that we split off the feelings underneath. We don't just feel our jealousy, feel our anger, and feel our, hate or wanting revenge or whatever it is. We learn to split off those feelings so we don't feel them. Or we feel them, but we still don't know what to do with them, so we find something to bury them under. Usually we repress the feelings in our bodies. Now we may have, it doesn't mean that we don't act out, because sometimes there are, situations where we're acting out, and it's really slowing down a little bit. So as we split off these feelings, or we don't know how to transform them, because we're caught in this image of being good, right? So what's happening is that we're either acting them out unconsciously, or we're acting them out, and it's not so unconscious that we're acting it out. Like, we can't, if we yell at somebody, we're not pretending like we didn't yell at somebody, right? We actually yelled at somebody. Or if I break your cup because you broke mine, I know I broke it. So there's two camps. As we split off from these feelings, there's two camps. One is we are acting out completely unconsciously, where we don't even realize that we're acting out, that these feelings are coming across and we have no awareness of it. And the other side is we act them out, we do our thing, but we also defend our actions, our behaviors, with a sense of righteousness. Like, I am right, and that's why I did it. So it's we can have two camps of acting out of feelings. Now, again, I want to come back to emphasize that I am not in any way condoning breaking your cup, okay? That is not the point of this video. What I want to say is that it's really important to own the feelings so that we can have a healthier relationship to them again. And so let's talk about this a little bit more, okay? Some people, I want to talk about another camp. Some people who act out, they may be acting out against others more. I think everything is on a continuum. It's not so split as I'm saying it, that either you I'm not saying that either you yell or you repress. Most of us fall somewhere in that range. Some more yell more, some um, repress more and go into, let's say, pity or victimhood or something like that. Pretending to be kind and compassionate, but really underneath it, there is something that we may be doing that we are not aware of that's acting out. The other camp that I want to talk about, and again, it's not necessarily one or the other, it's where we tend to fall more often, is more like it. Some of us, when we repress those feelings of anger, of rage, of jealousy, we get our revenge from the other. Okay, we make a comment that's like, a very under the table kind of comment. An example of that would be something that sounds like a compliment, but it's actually really mean at the same time. So that's one way we get our revenge from the other. The other is we get our revenge from ourselves. Okay? And that revenge from ourselves could be binge eating, or there's so many things that we could be doing to ourselves, like that kind of, we don't know what to do when we feel certain feelings, and we take it out on ourselves. We cry, we lay in bed all day, or we don't take care of our bodies. We don't take care of ourselves. We harm ourselves. Our actions are harming ourselves. And the other one is we're actually more in terms of we yell at somebody else, or we make a comment that sounds like a compliment, but it's actually really mean, or even pity. We might act out by pitying the other person. Okay, these are like passive aggressive, usually the person who's doing it is not conscious of doing it. Sometimes people consciously do it, yes. Sometimes people do it unconsciously. Okay, so we have like ways that we act out. We all do. No one is immune from being bad. Okay, we all act out towards others, towards ourselves, consciously, unconsciously, righteously, clouded in kindness or compassion, but really acting out. Withdrawing can be one way of acting out. And yeah, making innocent mistakes. There's a lot of ways that we can kind of, when we repress these feelings, that we can act them out. There's like so many, I can't even name them all. And really what we're doing, okay, what we're doing in not being aware of our acting out, right, or justifying it as righteousness or right, or something like that, being identified with it, we are trying to preserve a good person image. It's just an image. And why is it just an image? Because we're still acting out all of those feelings, just not consciously. Okay, so what to do? First of all, I love this. My teacher always says, my teacher Faisal, Diamond Logos tradition, he not always, but he often tells us when we're doing a process, he tells us, don't worry, you're bad, right? Now that if you can say to yourself, yes, I am bad, I am truly bad, you can start to feel the delight in it. There's actually delight in feeling your badness. You're no longer protecting an image of goodness that is so much work, right? You're no longer protecting that image. You are just admitting, I do good things sometimes, I do really bad things sometimes, or I am really bad. I have bad feelings, let's say. Doesn't mean that you get rid of the healthy part that says, don't kill anyone. don't break that person's cup because they hurt your feelings. Okay? It's not, that part needs to be there. We need that in our society. We need the healthy part that is keeping us from actually being bad, behaving in bad ways. We need it. So, first thing, admit with delight, I am really bad. I am the worst. I am absolutely the worst. Delight in that. Step 2, allow those feelings. They're natural. To feel jealous, to want to get revenge, to feel hate, to feel anger, anything, envy, whatever it is that you feel. Allow the feelings. Allow them in you. They transform. They really transform. One of the tricks, this is step 3, even if not quite steps, but we'll put it into steps. When you allow these feelings, feel them in your body. Okay? So feel them in your body so they can transform. If you're feeling anger, I talk about this a lot because it's the easiest. If you're feeling anger, you can feel it in your body. And if you feel it, it transforms into aliveness. Okay? I think I had a moment of feeling something. I can't remember. I think it was jealousy or something. As I was trying to make this video earlier, I was feeling a moment of jealousy or imagining that I'm feeling jealous. And as I said, I'm just going to allow this feeling, I noticed I was feeling embraced in my body. The feelings come up to be felt. It takes some muscles sometimes to feel them. It takes the capacity to ground, to not identify fully with the feeling, to have your awareness. So to be aware that you're feeling instead of completely being anger. Children, they when they feel their feelings, mostly they completely become their feelings. As adults, we can do that as well. We feel scared, we can become fear, where like all of us feel scared. So one of the tricks to not become the feeling is to also feel it. Where is it in your body? How does it feel? Where is it? Is it a tightness in your stomach? Is it actually warmth in your body? As you allow it, it might just feel like warmth or lightness or pleasure or aliveness. Something is what it transforms into. The resisting of it, the repressing, the suppressing of the feeling is what often ends up being a tightness or tension. Our shoulders are up. Something, there's like a critical voice that's coming in that we're often unconscious of. That's coming in to say, hey, stop it. Don't feel this. Don't feel it. You're good. Anyway, so when we do this, okay, when we allow our badness internally, internally, okay, when we allow our badness internally, when we feel it in the body, automatically the ego, the mind lets go of the content because we're starting to feel so good inside. Some of us have a tendency to grab onto it and recycle it back into the mind until it gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. That is just strengthening the wrong muscle and something to be aware of, that we don't want to feed that loop back into our ego so we can feel even more righteous, even more indignation about what we feel, but more, or even more victimhood. I feel, oh my gosh, I'm so good, they're so bad, and feel even more victimized. That's not the way. The way is to transform it in the body to pleasure, to warmth, to lightness, to confidence, to aliveness, to back to your real self. Not to the good image, but to your real self, to real goodness. It's real goodness, actually. Anger transforms into aliveness, real goodness. Whatever it is that you're feeling, jealousy, hate, whatever, transforming it back to pleasure or lightness, or that's the real goodness, real you.